Welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. Are you ready to discover some niche business ideas that actually work? Well, it's time for a motivational kick to jumpstart your next big idea. Here's your host, Spencer Haas.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. On today's show, I have a couple of very dynamic business owners, Justin and Joe from AdsenseFlippers.com. These guys are well known for their business of building niche websites and then flipping those sites for profit. I've been particularly impressed with their business processes that they've developed to systemize building niche websites. And today we're going to dig into some of those details surrounding their business and a whole lot more. Justin and Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey Spencer, glad you're having us, man. It's fantastic. Glad you got the podcast up and running.
Absolutely, yeah. The podcast has been long coming, and you guys are definitely one of the first that I wanted to interview. So I really appreciate both of you being on the show. It's great to have you.
Great to be here.
Spencer. Thanks.
So Justin and Joe, I know you guys have known each other for a long time, and I know a little bit of your background, but maybe you can just tell us how you guys first met, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, so we were friends. We met up in San Diego in around 1997, and we had some mutual friends. We all hang out together kind of thing. Nothing business related, just buddies. I was in the Navy at the time, and we were young, close, formed some close friendships, and everything was great. And we kind of stayed in contact over the years. And then, basically, I think the first time we met was on the beach, right, Joe?
Yeah, something like that.
You were hanging out with some Brazilian girl, and then we end up chit-chatting, and then end up hooking up, being friends, hanging out. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So you started out a good friendship, and then obviously this goes on to a business relationship. What was the first thing that you guys worked on as far as business-related project?
Yeah, the first thing we worked on was the mortgage business. I was a loan officer, which is not my background at all. I'm actually an engineer by trade, and I had done the whole tech thing in the 90s, the dot bomb thing. And after that, I decided to get in the mortgage business, become a loan officer in 2003, 2004. And Justin was looking for a job after he got out of the Navy, and I turned him on to the mortgage business, got him involved in that. So this evolved into us eventually starting our own mortgage business, which is a whole nother story. But yeah, we've been doing business together for quite some time.
Okay, now Joe, you were an engineer by trade. What kind of engineer were you? I know getting a degree in engineering is a lot of work, more difficult than lots of us could handle. So yeah, what kind of engineer were you?
A computer engineer, which is like a mixture of electrical engineering and computer science. I would say I did a lot more computer science work than electrical engineering, but yeah, that's my background.
Okay, very cool. So yeah, that's interesting that you sort of moved from that sort of a non-traditional move into the mortgage business. But I know that you guys had some success there. I've heard a little bit of the background there. And of course, that could be a whole other podcast about some of your early business ventures, I'm sure. But I know that you started to have some early success or some bigger success with your current outsourcing business. Maybe you can give me a little bit of background on how that got started and where it is today.
Yeah, so we were doing the real estate. We had a real estate company, and things were going great until they weren't. So we started to lose money. The market changed significantly, and we were basically forced out of business. So it was time to look for the job. We both took jobs as an internet marketing company, kind of worked our way up there, and they had a need for cheap labor. Offshore labor. Now, we had done some virtual assistant work in the Philippines with our real estate company, and we said, wow, that was really cool. I mean, real estate industry wasn't so cool, but we love the virtual assistant business. So we said, look, we've done a little bit of this before. We can kind of give it a shot with you guys. So we started heading in that direction inside the company. We both had 30 to 40 people working for us each, and we started to, instead of hiring new people, we started hiring offshore personnel. We started to grow that. Till the point at which they said, we really need to start building that up and, staffing even more. Can you guys kind of create a company? Can you guys set that up for us offshore? And we said, absolutely. So that's when we formed TriBPO as an outsourcing company here in Davao City, Philippines.
Okay, so Very interesting. So it's a general outsourcing company. I know originally you were working, you said, in the real estate business, but now, as I understand, you do a lot more with internet marketing type things. Is that all that TryBPO focuses on, is internet marketing type clients?
No, we did some local SEO work for our original client, and then we started adding additional clients because we didn't want to have all of our eggs in one basket. Obviously, when you have one client, that client owns you, right? When you have one monetization method, that owns you. So we tried to break away from that, and we did. We were successful at picking up new clients through a host of different things, transcription and some lead generation stuff, just typical outsourcing stuff. And then we lost our major client. So we gain a little over here and we lose a big one over there. So we were stuck with a bunch of staff that were sharp, bright. They'd been with us a long time. We didn't want to lose them. So we looked for a couple of different projects where we could keep them employed and keep them earning money until our original idea was just to put them back on another project once we got new clients. So that's kind of how we fell into the niche website thing, actually.
Yeah, very interesting. And we're going to go into niche websites, of course, here in just a second. But I do want to ask a question. Maybe you can give us an overall feel for how big the TryBPO side of your business is compared to your niche website business, maybe percentage-wise or something like that.
Well, originally, TryBPO was way bigger. I mean, that pays the bills, pays our salary and everything. I'd say we've had months, though, recently where AdsenseFlippers has overcome, like January, for example, we pulled in $45,000 for the month, and that was more than our outsourcing business. So we don't get into specifics about the exact revenue we make with the outsourcing company, but I can tell you January we made more with AdsenseFlippers than we did with the outsourcing business completely.
No, very good. It sounds like you have two healthy sides of your business, which is always great.
Yeah,
so,
I'm very happy about that too. And we're hoping by the end of the year for it to be consistently 50-50 TryBPO and AdsenseFlippers. So
awesome. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about niche sites now. I know that you build a lot of sites, and you already sort of explained why you started building them. Maybe you can give us an idea of how big your portfolio is right now. How many sites do you have?
Right now we have about 1,400 sites, although all time I think we've created more than 1,700 sites. And obviously that loss is due to site sales because that's a big part of our business too. We love to flip sites, hence the AdsenseFlippers, right?
Absolutely. So 1,400, that's a huge number that obviously a lot of people listening, are going to be blown away by. That seems like such a monumental task to undertake there. How many sites are you building a month? Do you have a particular schedule that you say, hey, we're going to build 100 sites every month, or does that vary as well?
We do, but we have other goals that we're looking to hit as well. So right now we've been doing 140 to 160 a month, but that changes a bit as we have to go back and we want to make changes to older sites, or we need our agents to work on other projects that we're working on. So, but it's about 150 sites a month right now that we're creating.
Yeah, and this sort of is very interesting to me. I sort of want to dig a little bit deeper into the processes that you have. I know a little bit about how you're choosing keywords and the types of sites that you're building and things of that nature, but I know you have a huge staff that's helping you out. So tell me a little bit about your staff. How big is your staff, and how do you have assignments given out to them?
Yeah, right now we have 12 full-time agents working on AdsenseFlippers in one capacity or another. We're getting really picky about who we add to the team. So we really only want to add people with great English skills, people that are very flexible, people that could do a multitude of jobs, so that if we have to vary or change the process in the future, we won't be stuck with someone who's just a copy and paste kind of person. So we've divided up our team into a keyword research team, a site building team, a link building team, and a content creation team. And really the biggest and probably the most important part of that whole process is the content creation team and the content managers that we have.
So it sounds like you've divided each of the sort of steps out of building a niche site, and assigned employees to do that specific task, which obviously is a good idea. They can become very good at either content creation or keyword research and sort of master that one skill. So as far as keyword research, how many people do you have doing that one particular task?
Right now we have one person that's been doing our keyword research, at least the first part of our keyword research. Even today, though, when it comes to analyzing the first page and really digging into whether or not it's a keyword we want to go for, that's something that Joe and I still do. So that's really the only part in the site creation process that we still have our fingers in. Everything else, once we pick it by the domains, we basically hand it off, put it in the spreadsheet, and our team goes to work and they've got their entire process. So we have one keyword researcher. We used to use someone part-time from, where was that, Joe?
Dominican Republic.
Yeah, Dominican Republic. We had someone that would help us part-time. We're not using him anymore. We just have our one agent doing the initial keyword research for us now.
That sounds good. I was going to ask about how involved you are in the process, because it sounds like you have it fairly systematized out. So essentially, the part that you're involved in is basically just approving those keywords that look good, or looking at a list and then picking out the real winners.
Yeah, but I would also say that we oversee the reports. We're looking at a weekly level, the production output of each team. We're looking at the quality. We're spot checking sites. We're making sure that this machine is not getting away with itself. You want to go in and kick the tires, so to say.
Spencer, to be honest with you, we're real process guys anyway, if you can't tell, right? I mean, we're big spreadsheet guys. We dork out on this kind of stuff. So, we kind of play to our strengths, which is this process and this like manual, like building teams to, knock stuff out. I mean, that's what we do. So, not everyone that builds niche sites does it the same way. I mean, I know that you build a lot less sites, but you put a bit more love, thought, and care into your, niche selection and your content, right? And we do it on a larger scale, but our sites earn considerably less. So we played to our strengths, and I think other niche site marketers need to do the same thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's a whole range of how you could build these sites, obviously. You can have it down to a system where you can outsource everything. I sort of do that a little bit, but then there's the other side of the spectrum where you can, of course, do everything yourself and have one larger niche site, and that can work just fine for a lot of people. I do sort of have my own personal question about hosting. 1,400 sites is a lot of sites to host. How many hosting accounts do you have? Are you using multi-C class IP hosting? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, when we first started out, I got one shared hosting account at GoDaddy, and I didn't really think about making another account. And then we had a problem with some sites, and we decided, hey, it would be a good idea to kind of section off these sites and silo them, so to say, to separate them from the groups. And so those groups have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. And to this day, we don't put more than 30 to 50 sites on any one shared hosting account. So that's kind of how we do it right now.
Okay, that sounds good. I want to move on just a little bit. Of course, we're going to still talk about niche sites, but I personally recently in my own business had a little bit of a shakeup. I lost my AdSense account, which is a big deal, of course, for me. But what is your opinion after sort of seeing my experience on using AdSense for your sites? And overall, let's talk about the future of niche sites.
Well, what I thought was funny, Spencer, is that there were a lot of people on your blog saying, oh, well, this happened because you create niche sites, or this happened because of this, or because you're talking about your income or whatever. And some people said, you should have really diversified. And we've already talked a bit, off the podcast about your diversification. So I was like, well, they don't really understand his business. I know that, with Longtail Pro and all the other things you have going, you're diversified. Unfortunately, with AdsenseFlippers, we're less diversified than you are. So it would be, pretty detrimental to us. And we'd have to have a plan in place, obviously, to quickly adjust. And so, when this happened to you, we thought about it. We sat down and talked about it and said, okay, what would we do if we lost our AdSense account? because it's a bit more of a worry. If it happens to you, right, it can happen to anybody. So we put a plan together and in place on our blog where, we kind of laid out our steps and be, switching monetization methods right away, and then, taking our top earners and seeing if we can, improve that further. I saw some people mention for you, Spencer, that it might be a blessing in disguise. You may end up actually earning more, per visitor than you were earning with AdSense. So I think your blog's going to get really interesting over the next, few months as you kind of delve into different monetization. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. There is a whole world out there of how to monetize your site other than Google AdSense, of course. And that's sort of what I'm digging into right now. And yes, I'm going to be talking about it on my blog a little bit more, but there's so many different options as far as CPA offers. There's lots of other in-text advertising that's out there. All sorts of other advertising networks that you can use besides just Google AdSense. So what I've always said is that the traffic is the real value to these niche sites.
Yeah.
If you're able to get free traffic from Google, you can monetize that in a dozen different ways. Go ahead.
I don't know if you knew this, Spencer, but back in September, we had some of our sites, around 100 sites, a little under that, get what we call tanked, basically. So they became tanked in the rankings and lost a ton of traffic. So I'd say that's worse than losing your AdSense account. Losing rankings, losing traffic, getting de-indexed. These types of things are even worse. So yeah, I mean, it's all about the traffic. You're right.
Yeah, just to give you an example, I lost my AdSense account. Within 2 days, I was able to put up some other type of advertising, and all of my sites are essentially earning something again. Granted, it's not as much as I was earning with Google AdSense, but I'm already earning some money because I still have the traffic coming into my site. So
how bad is this, Spencer? Right now, I mean, it's pretty early to say, but less than half, do you think, of your revenue is recovered? Probably, because you haven't really figured out the best monetization, right?
Yeah, at this point it is less than half, and it's only because I'm essentially using two networks right now that are very easy to get approved to and very easy to add to my sites. I'm using the Conterra network and InfoLinks right now, and so that is less than half. Maybe less than a third. It's sort of hard to tell at this point because I still have some sites I haven't added advertising to, and anyways, it's early on, but there are a ton of other options out there that it's going to take me probably a month or so to figure out what's the best way to go. But again, it's not like everything is gone, and there's other options as well out there. So that's a great point. Just the importance of the traffic, getting, either deranked or losing rankings within Google is much worse. And this sort of moves me on to my next point that I want to talk about with you guys is sort of ranking within Google and link building, how to get your sites to rank. Google recently sort of cracked down on some private blog networks, in particular Build My Rank, and there were others. How has this change affected your business, and what are some future strategies that you have for link building?
Well, it made it a hell of a lot less easy, Spencer. I can tell you that.
Yep.
I mean, Build My Rank was pretty easy. Okay, go build a few links. Let's get them ranked. I mean, our niches are so focused on keyword research that's really how we're able to get our sites ranked, and not the link building. But still, it was really nice to have something that was easy. We're moving toward a more natural link building method. So right now we're doing some article submissions through Submit Your Article, but I think we may even go more natural than that in the future. I'm talking about like a few pillar link posts, so e-zines, Squidoo, that type of thing, and then build a few links to those, kind of a mini 2-tier link building network. But we haven't even started that. That's just kind of our idea. We want to really back off of anything that's even close to being sketchy, I guess.
Yeah. So Justin and I have the theory of that the labor here is so cheap for us that the more manual we can go, the better. And this way, if there's any adjustment by Google, it's easy for us to adjust the process because we actually have people doing it. It's not some automated thing that you don't know how it works anymore. So that's always an advantage to being here directly on the ground in the Philippines.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is that, yes, the private blog networks being removed affected your business, but there's still lots of other ways that you can build links to your sites, and they're still effective. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we've gone to article submissions primarily right now, but I think we're going to even make it a bit more natural and a bit more manual, and probably ultimately have even better links to our site. So it's probably ultimately a good change. It's good that Google's cracking down on blog networks. It sucks for us niche marketers, but I think it forces us to look at other options, which are probably better, in total. It's better for the web in general, right? That we're not putting out, BMR type links and that kind of thing.
Right, absolutely. So maybe you can just give us an idea of how many links you are building to your sites right now.
How many links we're building our sites? Well, we do a submit your article post, and that it varies on how many places that's submitted to. We do a little bit of blog commenting, and that's basically it. I mean, that's our link building process. The plan is to do some UAW submissions and get those submitted as well, and we're looking at providers for that. I'll tell you, though, it's a little scary, Spencer, using third-party providers for your link building. I mean, generally, you have to hand that over to another person that does niche marketing and hand over your sites. Okay, here are all my sites, build links to them. I mean, have you ever had a problem doing that, been less comfortable doing that? That's always kind of one of those things I'm not too happy with,
Yeah, it is one of those tough things that you do have to reveal all of your sites if you want to hire somebody to do that. I have a virtual assistant that I've been using now for over a year that I trust a lot. And he essentially does all of my link building for me. So I'm a little more comfortable now just because I have somebody that I know and I trust, and he's very aware of my entire business. So that
we've used our own agents to do it too. At one point, I did use a third party that was from the Warrior Forum, and that was less than comfortable. I'm not sure if I really want to go down that route again. I don't want other niche marketers doing my link building. I mean, we've got cheap staff here. We should probably just handle it, manually in-house.
Yeah, that would probably be ideal, but I know there's a lot of people out there listening that won't have the opportunity to do that. They don't have a full-time staff. And so, I don't know if there's a best recommendation for people like that just don't have the opportunity to hire a full-time virtual assistant or otherwise have somebody to outsource to. What do you think? What would be your recommendation? Should they go over to Fiverr or Warrior Forum?
No, I don't know. I really don't think so. I mean, I'll tell you, you can use Odesk or something and try to hire staff that way, and build some trust there once you've worked with them for a while. But I'll tell you, Spencer, I honestly think the best way if you're looking for staff is to use a service called Virtual Staff Finder. It's run by Chris Ducker out of Cebu. It's $350, and then they give you an agent. They pre-qualify everyone. They'll give you really smart, sharp agents that work from home, and you can expect to pay somewhere between $200 and $300 a month for that agent. You work with the agent directly after they find you the agents, so you pay kind of like a staffing fee to them, and they'll get you the qualified people. You can interview them and kind of go through the process. We actually our next podcast episode will be all about interviewing, and specifically with VAs. So something you should probably take a listen to. But for someone that's looking to pick up their first VA, I would definitely recommend Virtual Staff Finder. It takes the hassle out of it for you.
Yeah, especially if you're not familiar with, hiring and interviewing process in the U.S. You've never done it before. You've never been a manager anywhere. Virtual Staff Finder can alleviate some of that pressure. You're still going to need to interview the candidates, and, you should still take some pointers there. But at least finding the candidates and getting the qualified people in front of you, they're going to be able to handle that for you.
No, that's great. That is probably a great route to go for somebody looking to actually hire somebody. And then, of course, the flip side of that is if you're not quite ready to hire somebody, unfortunately, the only other way to go is to do it yourself. So if you're not at that point, you might have to dig in, do some manual labor, build your own links. I know that's how I started, at least on my first few sites. So it's good to learn the process. And
honestly, honestly, Spencer, it's so much better to do it yourself first.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is helps you understand the whole process. Do you feel like you ever need to go outside of niche sites completely in order to diversify?
But yeah, I think that you can definitely mitigate some of the risks through diversification of your revenue streams. Make sure you have a backup plan. Just talking about different monetization methods other than AdSense would be a big way to pick up and have diversification in case something happened to your AdSense account, right? The other thing you need to do, at least for us, we're looking into building larger authority sites, building tools, even doing some consulting on the side to diversify our revenue streams and just get away from just building and selling niche sites. Even though we're the AdSense Flippers, you want to do something more than just that.
I would say too that it's not just diversifying your monetization, right? Because you're still heavily reliant on the traffic from Google. So I mean that is we talked about that being the real moneymaker. That's what you need to diversify away from, I think. And that's hard to do with niche sites, authority sites, any types of sites. It's hard to get away from that traffic because there's so much through Google. I think the best way to do that is through tools and things that are non-related to niche or authority sites.
Right, and I do want to sort of clarify here that there's a big difference between diversification and moving completely away from Google traffic. So, obviously we want a big part of our business, or we want a lot of Google traffic. And so I think both of us are in agreement that we're not trying to move away from niche sites or trying to move away from getting search engine traffic. We just want our business to grow, and percentage-wise, we want more of that to be involved in other avenues, whether that's social media traffic or other types of traffic that comes to our authority site, or then of course moving on to tools and other things. Is that about right?
Yeah, I mean, think about this, Spencer. Market Samurai has sold hundreds of thousands of licensed copies of Market Samurai. Hundreds of, I think 300 or 400,000. I mean, you're in Longtail Pro. I mean, that has a possibility of being huge for you. That could be your entire business on its own. So getting into these other streams, I think, give you a real chance to really make it and really make it through. Like, we used to use Market Samurai. We switched over from that to Longtail Pro simply because it's faster. Longtail Pro is more efficient. It's more effective for us. No other reason. It just happened to be better. So, I mean, you're just in the right place at the right time, and you're in a position to capitalize on that because of your diversification. So it is to kind of break up your streams and make your business a bit safer. But the chance at growing your business, you have a shot at like really having a breakout tool right there that could make you a ton of money. So I think that's critical too, is that having more fingers and more pies gives you a chance of really making it big.
Yeah, I agree, and thank you for the kind words on Longtail Pro. It's definitely gone well, and I have lots of future plans for it as well, so be on the lookout for that. In addition, you did mention, both of you mentioned, in fact, that part of your plan is to start thinking about or start building other tools. Can you tell us about any plans that you have? Do you have any tools or other ventures that are imminent, that are coming up pretty close?
We do have a couple of different offerings. I'd say that we're looking at. We're looking at releasing a theme, actually, Spencer. We're not really sure how it's going to go. We're going to use it internally first to make some adjustments to our sites and see how it works across all of our sites, and see if there's something that we can do in order to create an increase in CTR and therefore an increase in revenue to make sure that it performs better than our base level theme. We would do any of that with any of the tools we develop. We'd make sure to use them internally first before offering them for sale to anyone else.
Yeah, we're in a great position to kind of test out these tools. So we're talking to people now. The girl from Whoosh Traffic and some other people, one of the guys from Flippa, about kind of our experiences with this or that. So I mean, we have a ton of sites. We're pretty diversified in our niches, at least our niche sites, and we can really test out these different tools. So we're in a great position, I think, to develop them and see if they help grow our sites, help grow our business. And if they do, and some of the tools we're looking at building, I think, would on their own make up the development costs by just making us more money with our site. So that's one thing I'm really excited about. Anything else is just gravy. If we decide to sell them or whatever, then that's all profit. So I'm really excited about heading in that arena, probably closer to the end of this year.
Yeah, that's a great point that you make as well, is that as people are looking to build tools or develop software, if they can find something that would be useful to them, something that helps them in their own business, they're going to have a lot more insight. They're going to have a lot more intuition on how the tool should work and how it answers the needs of the market that's out there. So I think that's a very smart move on the part of both of you guys into moving into tools that helps you out with your existing business, because that sort of ensures that it helps people that are already in the market.
Well, Spencer, what's really cool, and I think you're in the same boat, is that we have, not huge, but we have nice sized audiences that give us this feedback, right? Other people too telling us, I wish they had this, or I wish there was that. And so we get this amazing feedback from our readers and listeners, and that gives us amazing ideas moving forward. And so, I don't know, there's plenty of room for other, people to build audiences, but if you can start building that audience and use that as a sounding board to get ideas on where to go, it's fantastic. It's been great for our business.
Definitely, I agree. The feedback I get is phenomenal as well. So you both sort of hinted at other tools. You sort of mentioned the theme that you're building, but I sense that maybe you're thinking about and planning some other things as well that maybe you haven't told us all about. Can you give us a sneak peek onto anything else you might be working on?
I can tell you one of the things we were thinking about doing is we were talking about maybe making our Buy Our Sites page a plugin, right? It's pretty cool right now. People can buy sites directly from our page. We were talking about doing that. I don't know if we're gonna see that one through. Another idea we were thinking about was a plugin that lets you work with AdSense channels and setting up the channels in your account directly from WordPress. But see, those things aren't very fleshed out yet, so we're kind of that's what we're not secretive from like a secretive point of view. We're secretive because we're not really sure.
Yeah, well, we have some ideas for some WordPress plugins, but like Justin said, they're not completely fleshed out. The things that we do right now that are done manually by our people hundreds of times a week or a month, we're thinking about building plugins to help them automate those processes, or at least give them access to statistics that they don't have access to right now because we don't give them access to our AdSense account. So if we could build tools for that, then I'm sure other people will be interested in those as well.
Yeah, I'd be excited definitely to see any tools that you guys are coming out with down the road. So thanks for giving us a little insight into sort of the planning of your business and how you sort of look at things. Overall, it sounds like you're definitely trying to sort of streamline your whole process. Anything that can save you time and money in your business would be a great tool to create. So thank you for sharing that. Now, going back to niche sites a little bit here, I know that there's probably a lot of people listening that are just starting out or maybe have one or two sites, and we've touched on a lot of the risks involved in building niche sites and the importance of diversifying. And I know that both of us here are not saying by any means that you shouldn't be building niche sites, but do you have any advice for somebody that's just starting out building niche sites? So, any sort of piece of advice that you would give to them to be as successful as possible in this business?
One of the worst things I think people do is they spend too much time agonizing over which keyword or if this is really the best niche. I think they're better off spending a little bit of money trying some out and failing, right? It's better to make a few mistakes and take action and then make those mistakes and then adjust and learn rather than agonizing over just the right keyword. So basically just getting started. And I would say, there's plenty of other stuff you can do other than niche sites, but niche sites is a great way to get your feet wet. It's a fantastic way to get started. I mean, learning keyword research, content, site setup. I mean, those are all critical for anything you're going to do online.
And to be able to do it yourself, I think, the first thing that people look at is, well, how can I make it passive? How can I just hand it all off to an outsourcer and press a button and make it work? Well, it's better to take your time, build the sites yourself, learn these little intricate processes, your way of doing it, because this way when you go to an outsourcer, you know exactly how you want it done, how long it takes, and when you try to scale the process, it becomes a lot easier.
I think that's some great advice from both of you right there, is to just jump in, get your feet wet. I know there's so many people out there that read blogs or forums for, maybe years, before they actually jump in and just try it. And I think that's huge. That's what sort of launched me in my business, is just deciding to build several of these niche sites and then finding some winners. And of course,
Spencer, I think there's kind of a window there when you're getting started, right? I wrote about this a while back, but when you're just getting started, you're kind of excited about it. You think, oh, this might actually work for me. I think I can make it work. And you need to find out a little bit about the first steps to take. But if you go too much past that, you'll start to get some of the negative and some of the risk. You'll think, maybe I shouldn't even get started at all, or I'm not sure this would really work for me. And so you should really take advantage when you're in that window, because if you move past it, you'll start to think these negative thoughts and may not jump in at all. So make sure that, you get enough to where you know what you need to do to get started, and then jump on it.
Absolutely. Great points there. So let's move on just a little bit here. There's actually a project that both of us have been working on together, and it's something that we haven't talked about a whole lot. We've sort of mentioned it a couple of times, I believe, on our blogs, but we've recently started a project called Niches for Charity. Now, why don't you just tell us what Niches for Charity is and how you came up with the idea?
All right, buddy. So, I'm here in Davao City, Philippines, and we decided to do something kind of fun for Christmas. So us and some friends, we decided to go buy just a ton of Christmas presents, and then we got them all wrapped, and friends were helping out with that. And we went and just handed them around to the kids right around Christmas time. And it was a blast. I mean, we went through a lot of the poor areas here in Davao, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this is amazing. We're thinking, how could we do this year round, right? It'd be kind of expensive if we were, continue doing this ourselves. And then I was thinking, we have a way to just make money, right? It's not that difficult. We can just, invest the money and make a bunch of money. Why don't we do that? And why don't we do it year round? And we know that you're doing extremely well with niche sites as well. And that's why we recruited you and said, hey, why don't we do something like this? We'll do Niches for Charity, where we can create niche sites, invest in these sites, and then give all of that money back. Everything we make from Niches for Charity will go to charities. And for us, it'll be direct, right? I mean, we have people here in Davao that are really seriously in need. So we can give back to the people in our local community. And we're still talking about what you're going to do. Have you thought about that yet? Where are you going to give your charity or your money from charity?
Yeah, I'm really interested in the Kiva.org idea that we had discussed. And of course, Kiva.org is essentially micro-lending for people in either third world countries or other small business owners that just need a little bit of money to get started and that are entrepreneurial in nature and can start whatever small business that they have. And so I feel like that would be a great way that I could give back. It's sort of develop a fund, if you will, that I could be lending out on a perpetual basis to people that are in need.
Well, I love that. I love that, Spencer, because here's the thing, too. You're just lending the money, right? So you're lending it out. You're getting it back. You're going to end up helping people buy chickens and goats and cows, and they're going to be able to set up little stores on the side of the road. I mean, it's kind of crazy over here in developing countries. I mean, that's really what they're going to be doing with it, setting up what we call sorry stores here in the Philippines. And it's really, that's so cool. It's such a cool thing to do. And then you can actually make a much bigger difference over time because you're lending it. You're going to get paid back on some of that money, and you can keep reinvesting as it grows. That's really awesome. I think that'll be a fun one. It'll be fun to follow your progress.
Yeah, no, and I've been impressed with you guys. you both came up with the idea for Niches for Charity and seeing the need there over in the Philippines. I think it's great that you had the desire to give back, that you saw a way that you could have a little bit of extra money that you could donate to charity. And I think that hopefully others can sort of rally around this idea and perhaps even donate on their own or some other way, get involved. So what ideas do you have of ways people can get involved in Niches for Charity?
I mean, one of the ways is, they can just do it themselves. I mean, we don't really want to get in the business of like taking donations or anything like that. It'll be more like people can share their journey and how they can build niche sites and give some of that money back. So I think that'd probably be the best way. And then we can highlight their stories on the site and kind of like explain what they're doing, how that's working. I think that'd be a great way to kind of highlight other people that are doing it as well and get more people involved. Internet marketing has a bit of a black eye when it comes to, well, lots of things. So we're hoping we can take, the internet marketing stuff and put it to a really good cause and encourage others to do it as well.
I think it'll be a big motivational type site where people can come and either read stories that other internet marketers are involved with or that we're involved with. And the idea really is to hopefully spread the idea of building niche sites for charity. So I think you guys had a great idea. That's why I was excited to jump on board and be involved with it as well. I don't know if we have an exact date that we're ready to announce, but I know in the next few weeks we plan to have the site up and running and ready for people to start getting involved, right?
Yeah, I know we got to get that content done so that we both have to work on. I know I'm thinking maybe like middle to end of the first week of May, but yeah, it should be right around there. We can get it up, and then we'll start, picking our niches and, kind of going through the process of getting those up and running and making some money.
Absolutely. So that's something for people listening that they can just look forward to, a project that we have coming down the road in a little bit. But overall, Justin and Joe, I appreciate you guys being on the show very much. It's been great talking to you and going over your business.
Awesome, man. It's been great. Yeah, it's been great being on the show, Spencer. The Niche Pursuits podcast. I'm really stoked you got it up and running. It's been great for our business. I'm sure it's going to be great for yours, and we really appreciate you having us on.
I think it's a great format. It's a little bit easier than writing a blog post, and I think you'll attract a different audience with an audio format like this.
So for anybody listening out there, what's the best way that they can follow along, or is there any other parting words that you have for us?
Check out AdsenseFlippers.com. I know we share some audience, so some of your listeners already check ours out as well. But yeah, check out AdsenseFlippers.com. We got a lot of content. We've got podcasts going on over there as well. And we can't wait to have you on our podcast again sometime in the near future, Spencer.
Absolutely. I'm ready whenever. So again, thank you very much, Justin and Joe from AdsenseFlippers.com. It's been great having you on the show, and we look forward to following along with your niche sites and your additional projects in the future. Thank you very much.